far as I'm aware.
Interesting.
FaZe Clan are undefeated and have looked like a formidable machine. Back in top form, they put on quite the run, if you recall, back when they won the Swedish major.
That was a run.
In Gävle.
Gävle. They rose the trophy, and now they're banning the Monty. Not a bad pick here, or bad ban, should I say. Monty does make Skyscraper a little bit more linear, so you can just kind of make your way through the map. That's no longer beyond the case. Same with the Finka going off the board here. Very common today, actually. Day 1 of group stage, almost no Finka bans. Day 2, about half the games today, I believe, because Rogue banned it early as well, and so did the previous game that we casted. So about 45% probably ban rate so far. And then we got Valkyrie to follow it up. Final Defender ban is going to come out. Could be a Mira, could be a Wamai. Let's see what's on the in the cards, the Mira.
For those of you that are wondering why we're laughing, the observers were whispering things in our ears while we were doing that, by the way. So, really appreciated, Medics.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Medics. And thank you for the great spectating up to this point.
Yeah, that too. But
maybe he'll fall off. We don't know. I was actually joking because I think we were aligned with when he worked versus when we worked, because every single time I was upstairs, he would always just be sitting, just like relaxing. I'm like, do you even work at all? Turns out he's been spectating the games on various streams when we have been casting. So, of course, it always looks like he's off work, but he's not.
Oh, nice guy.
Sandbox start on attack, by the way. FaZe on defensive. You didn't see the operator bans. Just to recap it, Monty and Mira banned out by FaZe. Finka and Valkyrie banned out by Sandbox. No Finka crutches. They're not allowed.
No, not this time around.
You cannot be a Finka crutch in this lobby.
Thing is, if a team were to need a crutch right now, statistically it's Sandbox, right? They need every single thing they can get to find a leverage in these rounds, because FaZe, really good team right now. Cyber, let's keep an eye on him throughout this entire match, because he looks to be the MVP of the tournament so far, so people claim.
Absolutely. I mean, have you seen the way he's playing? He
said,
sort of botched the magnet.
Disgusting.
He's been playing incredibly well. His stats in the tournament have been phenomenal. He's been clutch. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Cyber also, I don't know if he did, but he had a chance to, I believe, break the kill record at one point on LAN. I can't remember if it was Charlotte. I can't remember if it was SI. I can't remember if it was Gävle. I don't remember specifically because all these events take up the same space in my brain. But there was a period of time where Cyber was in a position to potentially set a record. Shyle almost getting shot out, by the way, as he placed that Claymore. You had some problems with teams using too many Claymores.
Yep. This is Skyscraper. These were the one map with so many windows.
Oh! Static under fire first. The Wamai of Cyber decides to peek the doorway, almost getting a kill. Arakaze on the Ying is not too far off of his teammate of Static, taking some damage.
Do you like the Ying here, though?
The Ying pick, I think, is very smart. There is a Thatcher in play on Envy Taylor, one of the oldest players at this tournament. He'll be able to get rid of some of those mute jammers, those pesky jammers that are stopping the Selmas from going off. This is an office and initiation hold, even though the bomb site is down below inside a bedroom. And Bullet's the first one to perish in this matchup. Shyle taking him down before getting refragged by Astro upstairs in Dragon.
Trade 1-for-1, Static still low on HP, of course. The Ying on Arakaze is going to be one of the defining factors for the attack. That's going to be the execute, right? The Candelas, the smoke, etc. Also, they want to enable his teammates to get inside the building right now because there's a minute left. And most members of Sandbox, if not all members of Sandbox, are actually outside a window or a doorway. In we go! But there's not really any members of FaZe here. They've fallen off. They've gone downstairs. Of course, Astro is peeking around trying to deny those drones and stall for more time. Only 4 drones left for Sandbox. That's a nice shot from Good Boy. The Young gonna pick up from the side of Sandbox. That's gonna put them in an advantageous position, and they need everything they can get with these last 45 seconds because FaZe are holding on, and Cyber is looking for this 1-versus-1 engagement against Arakaze. Not being given, gets shut down by Envy Taylor, who's had a great performance today so far. It's a 2v4. Make that a 1v4.
Continuing to just narrow the numbers down for FaZe. FaZe can clinch with a victory here over Sandbox and be the second team. Well, I mean, maybe not the second team to make it. Depends on what happens in the other matchup. But Sandbox starts things off with a round victory, and a good one that it is. Only suffering a single casualty as they just throttle FaZe in round 1.
Pretty one-sided indeed. I will say the bedroom bomb site is extremely uncommon in Europe and North America. I'm actually going to dig for some statistics here and see if this is like a common thing in LATAM, because we never see that bomb site being played out, and we kind of saw the reason for why that is. The bomb site itself is so open and so vulnerable and so weak, and once you lose the top floor presence, it all kind of just falls apart at that point, and we don't like when that happens when we're defending in Rainbow Six Siege. So the kitchen barbecue bomb site, a bit more standard, but still, normally we do see the top floor bomb site of Exhibition Office and Kurogati that we see right now being played primarily and secondary. But we're going to start oppositely, I suppose, in this case and see what's going to work out instead. FaZe, of course, looking for gunfights where they can. The Sandbox hitting their shots first in that opening round.
10 seconds to insert.
It's already a bit of a
5 seconds to go.
faster execute than you and I have seen today. I don't know what's been our luck, but most of the matches that we have witnessed, you and I, have been very, very slow on their entry, and well, that one was a little bit different. I expect fireworks between these two teams. The lineup for Sandbox Gaming is a bit more orthodox this time, and when I say orthodox, I mean you're not going to bring a Ying to the battlefield. You've got your anti-flank watch, or your anti-flank, the flank watch of Arakazi's Nomad, good scouting, and plenty of soft and hard destruction. The hard destruction will be carried in the hands of Ace, that Statics operator. That's all they really needed in the previous round, but this will be a very different style of take. Bullet all the way up top of stairs, and he's looking out towards the balcony as it's been blown open. There's nobody to be found. It looks like he's going to head back towards Dragon. Sandbox waiting now. They've opened up that crucial part of the map. Bullet has not been droned out. There's actually 3 members of FaZe that were in Dragon, and they are now long gone as they will vacate the premises, go back over towards the western side of the map, which is over that kitchen barbecue defense bomb site that we saw.
This seems to be the trend for FaZe, is start across the map and slowly fall back to kill those drones. The thing is, top right-hand side of our screen, there are all 10 drones available for Sandbox, and a single one has been killed. Plus you have the Gemini clone on Sile as well, granting even further information. So FaZe not really being successful so far in this round.
It's actually quite impressive given that there's a Mozzie and a Mute on the board. The fact that you haven't lost a drone yet at the halfway point of the round suggests one of 2 things to me. Either 1, Sandbox are doing some pretty good droning, or 2, you're not doing anywhere near enough droning. So we'll find out, and we can speculate, depending on what happens in the later portion of this round, as to whether or not it's proficiency or negligence.
That's a good point. So far, though, no blood has been drawn. Everyone's alive, 1 minute left. All drones are alive as well, and still no pests, still no jammers stopping us.
There you go, they lost one.
They lost one. There
they did,
it is.
yes.
Just now. Oh, there's the second one. 2 drones lost, no members yet. 50 seconds left.
Pour one out for the little drones. Yes. Nade dropped as it was being cooked by Shyle. That's Bullet to dispatch the first member of Sandbox, but Cyber's traded out. That's a pretty prime target for Sandbox as Arakazi gets the pick. That's Arakazi's second kill, yet to die. There was only a single death for Sandbox in that previous round, and it was Shyle. They're keeping the numbers good as Bullet goes down, and the advantage swings in favor of Sandbox with just under 30 seconds to go. They've made it into the building, but now must continue to walk towards the site. FaZe still has a couple bodies off of it. They have to retake 2. This could be a brawl in the wings. Nice shot by Astro. Another from Arukazi, and he's got more work to be done as it's suddenly a 2v2. Arukazi down as he tries to tussle. Cannot do it. Envy Taylor will need to clutch out how close he is. He looks to the right, but he needed to look, or he looks to the left, needs to look to the right. It's the secondary shotgun. Yet another ITA sidearm kill as FaZe answers back with a successful barbecue kitchen defense.
Looks a lot better for that bomb site. I did go in and check the statistics, and yes, in fact, it turns out in LATAM, the Master Bedroom bomb site is played as a secondary/tertiary bomb site option, and not only that, it has a 100% win rate in 6 rounds in the CES Best of 3 matchup in LATAM. So this is very abnormal compared to the other regions. That's likely why FaZe opted for it first, but it does not work out that one time around. And FaZe might not go back to it either. They're gonna go through their rotations of the bedroom, kitchen, or the bedroom one rather, into kitchen, into exhibition offense instead, where they're currently finding themselves. Of course, Mute being brought out every single round here, deny those walls, and what should be denying the Jones, but last round didn't find a single one, of course, that happens. But it's a very stable pick on Skyscraper, as there are so many 90-degree corners, triple walls you can jam. And of course, we're trying to take advantage of the entirety of the map. So those jammers are likely getting a lot of value, as you can spread them out in any sort of fashion that you would like. It's just a matter of choosing exactly where to put them down. Aggressive approach here from FaZe, as Oryx of Cyber has opened up the wall to the exterior balcony on both Geisha's side and near the bomb site itself. Thunderblade being brought out too from Astro can heal people right back up. Cyber back on full HP just by ramming down a bunch of walls. Not a bad combination here. With a healing operator, then Oryx takes damage upon using his gadget.
Still no drones to be lost yet, as far as we can tell.
Nope.
There's no Mute on the board, or there's no Mozzie on the board, just a Mute to deal with, but still some jamming that can be done. Deny that very critical information that is so necessary. Worth noting that that round that we just saw transpire was a 1v1,
yeah.
Nick, at the very final
So
seconds. And I mean, NB Taylor looked left, he needed to look right. That's called the Kansas City Shuffle.
Sure. You keep making these things up, I feel like. I don't know.
Now, the Kansas City Shuffle is from Lucky Number 11.
I don't know what that means.
I'm sure there are probably dozens of people who've watched that who are going to be overjoyed at that reference. First kill of the round goes to Astro. Good boy, he says. I could make another Lucky Number 11 joke about Good Cat, Mr. Good Cat.
Oh
This is
my
Good
God.
Boy, though, but they're just making these jokes so easy for me. A reinforcement over by Geisha will keep the attackers at bay should they take that part of the map. FaZe still in good position as we've reached the halfway point. And there seems to be some reluctance on side of Sandbox to get into the actual map, as many remain on the outside, struggling to get map control away from FaZe.
Yeah, I mean, this right here is the hardest part. The map is split dead in half. Half of this map is owned by FaZe, other half is owned by Sandbox. The thing is, FaZe owns the bomb site, and they have Shrine control here in Dragon, and this line right here that Sophie's about to cross is the most difficult line to successfully get past. The crossfires, the soft walls, the lines of sight, clearing out the striker position, all of it is so difficult. The Terror Drone goes out, Sophia stun, etc. Hard breach on the wall behind him, that's going to help them significantly, and because Astro is concussed, he doesn't heal to the very last second, but he gets out live. It's 5v4 still with 40 seconds left.
In goes the Rotero drones to clear out some of the debris that might have been left by the defenders. NV Taylor, the first kill for Sandbox, comes with 30 seconds to go in the round. Very similar timing to what we saw in the previous round. There's more work to be done. Bullet off the board. Cyber yet to find a kill, and just as I say that, he picks up one on Narukaze. NV Taylor will follow. Into the grave you go. Shile and Static, the only two that are left against the armada of FaZe, who lost Bullet earlier in the round. FaZe not moving an inch, and it's Sandbox to walk into their Bullet. Says Shile does and gets it down, but cannot get the confirm at all. Say goodbye. FaZe take that round, and it's their second in a row.
To talk about Sandbox right now, Good Boy is kind of what Spoiled is in Europe, but to APAC, essentially. Good Boy was like a content creator, I believe, a tier 2, tier 3 player that was playing in APAC, and he was he had a lot of offers from like multiple Pro League teams, etc. And a lot of people thought he was going to be like the next up-and-coming star player for APAC as a region. This is Good Boy's first event, I believe, at the international stage, and he's still very young in this tier 1 stage of Rainbow Six Siege. Essentially, Good Boy is, yeah, a good boy. Very high soul after player.
Okay.
I don't got these smart thingamajigs or movies references. I don't. I'm working.
You need to be cultured in the ways of the pop culture, Nick. As you saw at the bottom there on your screen, if FaZe Clan wins, and there you go, it's right back. If FaZe Clan wins, they are in the playoffs. They will join Elevate. If Sandbox wins, they will have a coin toss of whether they get in or not, 46%.
5 seconds remaining.
The likelihood of Sandbox making it in should they lose, well, it's not very good. G2 is within striking distance because of Sandbox victory over the Soniqs, and the Soniqs will be playing G2 in our final match coming up after this on this exact stream, just in case you're curious.
Very nice. I like the sound of that.
Do you?
I do, actually. It's a banger game to not on, but also this game.
You call every game a banger.
That's false. That is very false. The defining games, who qualifies or goes home, are always certified bangers. The games that put you in a good position, they're just good games. It's not quite the same. Just like mid isn't always applicable or applicable, it's only sometimes it can be mid. Gamer terms are not linear, Parker. They are dynamic. Yeah.
All right.
Ash looking for a bit of a swing out here, but Good Boy is reading it, ready for it, holding down that angle in case it jumps out. Astro thinks better of it, does not go for it until EP goes out. It's going to reach open that singular wall. Next up is the double wall to the bomb site itself. This is Sandbox applying pressure above the bomb site, because remember, we are downstairs in the master bedroom. Cyber swing out the similar position at the door, but it's Silo finds the counter Astro. Opening kill goes in favor of Sandbox Gaming, and then second for them as well.
Arukazi taking out Bullet. Bullet has been one of the first deaths for FaZe in just about every single round. That's not where you want to find yourself at all. Unideal spot, some would say. Damage done to Cyber as he now impacts his way into barrels, out of the bathroom, and still holding on to this first floor. Within striking distance of both of the bomb chassis, still playing over by what was once referred to as barrels, but now as, I suppose, delivery. FaZe with a number of players off-site, as Sandbox are still waiting quite a while to take map control. This has been the story for Sandbox. They've been very wary of pushing a bit too aggressively, and it allows FaZe to get quite comfortable and prepare for where the advances of Sandbox come.
That is true, but at the same time, once you got the advantage, holding on right now for Sandbox is the right approach, because if you start losing members by being too quick, well, you have time on the clock. You need to utilize this, otherwise it's time wasted. Good Boy might meet his end right here as Cyber is out to swing his doorway, but no, Good Boy, he wins it. The RX is too strong.
It's a bad game so far for Cyber if you look at the way that he's played up till this point. Soul's long considered the best support in the world by a number of different commentators. He's in a 1v5, and he can't get anything done. Good Boy, those 2 kills from the same spot gives Sandbox their second round, and it's a flawless one at that.
That's huge. I mean, Sandbox sending a statement that the LATAM bomb site of bedroom does not work at the international level, because that has been both the times they've won, but also a flawless run as well. Just makes it so much more proven that that bomb site is not quite the strongest. And FaZe are probably not going to go back there. They're going to go to Barbecue Kitchen instead, following their similar rotations before, where they went bedroom, kitchen, into exhibition. Kitchen is next though. Frostship's going out as they have. It was Astro last time, now it's Cameraman instead, so taking turns on that operator. Cyber trying to figure out how to get comfortable in Zero right now. Playing a couple of different operators. Wamai most commonly right now on the Aruni. 2 C4s. Now that was used last time. Did not need it from side of FaZe, as they won all their gunfights instead. A single shield from the pocket of Cameraman can be put upstairs if they want it. On bomb site itself, we'll see. He puts it down later on, because right now it's in his pocket. He is still making rotations on the side itself. On Skyscraper, we're seeing Cyber right now extending out across the map. You should pretty much always extend out on this map. It's kind of like Villa or Chalet, where, sure, the bomb site might be on the west-hand side, but if you can start on the east side, kill some drones, stall for time, go for a cheeky spawn peek like Cyber is right now, apply a bit of map pressure across the board. That is ideally what you want to be aiming for. Otherwise, the attackers can storm through the building, take way too much map control way too quickly. That is an easy way to lose the round. Look at this. Very slow beginnings from Sandbox. Every time they open up the door, they peek the window. They expect FaZe to be super aggressive. FaZe are respecting this. They're going too far right now. A few times they have been cheeky early on. They've been shut down well by Sandbox, and now the respect is mutual, as no one is really overstepping their boundaries.
Being back on the menu to Arakaze's 5 kills, a formidable weapon, and a lot of power in those Candelas as well. Expecting somebody to be over by that dragon window, which was a fair, I would say a fair assessment, given the fact that Bullet has played off of that area a couple times. You don't want him getting a little bit cheeky. FaZe have been struggling in the kills department. Astro is leading the way on the team. One of the 2 longest serving players on this roster. He and Cameraman, of course, have been on FaZe, and then Cameraman was off FaZe for a while.
Yeah.
And comes back, and
it's the plus-minus roster
it's the
move.
circle of life. Cameraman's been very quiet, by the way. I don't even know if he's said his voice up till this point.
Say his voice?
Or sorry, said his name. I don't think I've heard us say his
I've only said it.
Look.
I said cameraman is playing for us. That's all I've said about it. But yeah, you're right.
It's jet lag, you know?
It's jet lag.
It's jet lag.
It is
See,
what
Jacob
it
was
is.
smart. He got here well ahead of time, so there will be no jet lag on him by the time the analyst desk comes around on Friday.
Oh, you're right.
Either way, again, a relatively slow round.
Very slow.
What is it with the pacing on the matches that we cast, Nick? Because all 5 players on each team still alive, all 10 in the server upright, and not a single point of damage has been done. There's 45 seconds left in the round. This is unthinkable how slow and how methodical these teams have been. I gotta give some credit to FaZe for the way that they played this one out. Cameraman, the lead-off pick, comes with 40 seconds to go in the round. Good timing. Very good timing, in fact. FaZe want to break this tie. They need to start doing a bit more work. There's still 1 Candela left for Arukazi. That's it.
Oh.
FaZe coming alive, though. Envy Taylor the next to go. Souls a swing, and down goes Arukazi. A flawless round from Sandbox is what preceded this. Will one from FaZe be the seceder? That's the real question. No, it won't. No secession there. Good boy, the first kill for Sandbox. Might be the only kill, and indeed it is. Cameraman and Souls the final 2 to add to the board, and FaZe will regain the lead.
They will. Only by a round, though, as no one is getting a clear lead yet in this matchup so far. Sandbox got the first, FaZe got the second, and then, sure, the third round also went to FaZe. But then after that, it's been back and forth, round by round. Of course, both teams still got their tactical timeout. We still got one final round where FaZe will be defending and Sandbox on the attack. A 3-3 split on Skyscraper is not bad by any means. I feel like both teams can be somewhat satisfied with that result. But of course, you always want to try and get as many rounds as possible. FaZe looking for 4. Sandbox looking for a tie at best. Operator-wise, pretty similar story for both sides. Not too many flexible operators coming out. Arukazi going between the Nomad and the Ying. It's the matter of how often we see the Frost on the defense. This time, no Frost in sight. First time for FaZe is they like to bring the operator, get that secondary shotgun, the shield, of course the traps on those window jump-ins. It's very lovely on Skyscraper, because there are quite a lot of windows and balconies that you can utilize on the attack and entry.
All set. Benchy deployed.
5 seconds to insertion.
Final round of defense for FaZe. It's been stalwart, very patient.
Attackers objective
We saw a bit
to
of
locate
cheekiness at
bomb
the
and
beginning,
defuse
as we
it.
talked about. Bullet was the one that had done that, looking for an early peek. I think Cyber got a little bit aggressive on, it was either round 2 or 3, if memory serves me correctly. But other than that, it's been a very static defense, and I don't mean the player on Sandbox. Right as I say that, Cyber is in position for a run out to balcony. Depending on where Sandbox decides to push from. Cyber could time this well, but there's nobody home, nobody nearby. They're only going to have a tiny bit of time to go for a run out. Astro is also poised for a run out, so 2 members of FaZe, as I say that, decide to take the engagement towards Sandbox, but come up empty-handed, as both were hoping for Sandbox to be a little bit closer to them, but instead, far enough removed from the action.
And again, this is why Sandbox is so slow on the clock, because they need to respect all these potential dangers on the map. If you go a little bit too fast, you might just get your head swung off by these kind of like odd peaks, right? You can open up the soft doors to the exterior of the map. We see Astro here waiting for his moment. Here's Rappelin. Oh, Astro?
No, Astro! You had an opportunity and you let it pass you by. Sandbox coming so close to giving up that very first pick. FaZe could have blown things wide open with over half the round to go. But alas, it was not to be.
Would have been a great kill to have for Astro, of course. It would have been Envy Taylor and Thatcher of all operators, so like massive value. Nope, not this time around. Half the round, 80 is getting burnt. Flashman's going in. Nate to follow soon as well, I believe, to clear out that Banshee.
Oh, but it gets eaten by another ADS of its own, so another nade will now follow. Astro taking a lot of damage as there goes the shield. Trying to soften up the Yana, and it will be a success for FaZe Clan. 2, in fact, Shiloh and Good Boy are put under the ground. Not able to do too much to counter that. Damage was done to Bullet and Astro, but nowhere near enough to get a kill onto either.
No, it's not enough. Now Sandbox, it can't do a lot. Bullet jumps out the window.
It gets a confirmed kill. What did I say about them playing a much safer style of defense? And then they decide that in the very final round, you know what? Let's get a little bit crazy with it. It works out. That ADS is such a pest. Arukaze dealing with the smoke, the Banshee. Caraman could swing with that shotgun at close range. That will be a fatal blow to Arukaze. Static will come from a different angle, though. There's the shotgun barrier. Shotgun out. The barrier, just a wall, but Cameraman has now sought some safe refuge at Cyber to get one and Souls another. FaZe close it out as they knew the location of the final two Sandbox players, and the first half is in the books with FaZe taking a 4-2 lead.
Yep. That
Good
final,
Lord, what's going on in another game?
something
That's what I want to know.
popping off. FaZe finally playing aggressive towards the end. That's much more like than what we can expect from a team like FaZe. Of course, Skyscraper, the map itself, it doesn't have that much room to run around with, which is why I do like what they're doing, opening up the geisha wall and the single wall in offense to enable themselves a bit more. And sure, FaZe haven't gotten much value off those runouts just yet because Sandbox were respecting it so much, holding those angles time and time again. But the sheer factor of mental pressure that they're applying onto their opponent by opening up those angles and utilizing them has definitely paid off in their rounds so far. Size up, of course, and now we're going to see FaZe in the attack. Reinforcing both the walls inside of Karaoke is quite uncommon, actually, as there's now no rotation from the top of Black Stairs, and there's no real possibility of playing inside the bombs unless you're going to be stuck in a corner, and then you might just get naded out. So, a bit of a different approach here for Sandbox, as they will shape the bombs a bit differently.
5 seconds to
Either
go.
way, it can work. Do see both the Alibi and the Frost as well as the Warden, so 3 shields. They can fortify 3 different locations, sit down and hold down those angles, barricades a couple of doors into the nook. On the attacking side of FaZe, we see Cameraman. And this is the thing about Cameraman, Parker. We haven't spoken about it much, as you said.
Speak about it.
He plays Gridlock rather frequently as one of the only people in the entirety of any professional league. Which is very odd, but it seems to work. The gun is very underrated. The
gun is very underrated.
It really is.
Very, very much so.
Remember, it was Uno in Europe that would actually play Gridlock on Cafe. He's one of the first Pro League players in our region. And after that, people are like, why are you playing this operator? And Uno goes, I like the gun a lot. And I was like, that works for me, you know? Cameraman, of course, might have that same story, but of course, the smoke grenade you get, high value secondary utility, and the gadget gives you both a sound cue, it can cover sound like when you're planting, and it can, of course, deny the flank or slow someone down. And speaking of slowing someone down, our cause is off the board, no legs to be had. Nate is perfect inside a geisha room. No one mind is there to protect you.
There's no way you just called somebody getting killed by a grenade slowed down.
I mean, if you're dead, you're very slow. You can't move.
I would imagine you can't go quite fast. I don't know. The only time I could ever see a corpse going fast is when they make that joke about, like, so-and-so's spinning in their grave. That's the only time that the dead can speed, I would assume. But other than that, you're right. I suppose it would slow. Another nade goes in from Bullet. This time does not connect. Cyber's successful, obviously. Trading out souls for Arukaze, I honestly don't know who comes out ahead with this 4v4. Good Boy getting stunned a few times. In goes a nade, following up, but he's still in that position. Bullet can't get to him in time because of that Astro falls, and Good Boy's going to swing again, a 3rd kill. Sandbox coming out in the 4v2 with a minute to go.
Good Boy looking for the ace potentially here, maybe at least the 4K. Has the fuse inside the geisha room as well. Great position to be in. Can't get flashed, can't get smoked off. Static gets a kill as well. No ace will be had this round.
Denied.
But a 3 kills so far is also quite good.
Who's going to find the final kill on the Cameraman, or will we see a clutch? There's already been a 1v5 clutch so far. It's a 1v4 would be almost as impressive. That good gun that you talked about has decent rate of fire, good damage, but target prioritization is going to be important. Starting with 1 on the Good Boy. Cameraman has 3 more to be found, but as a 3 armor of Gridlock, he's going to continue to be softened up, surviving way longer than most operators would. But look at all these Swiss cheese holes, all this setup that's been designed by Sandbox to give Cameraman pause as he walks forward. He'll try to tussle with a shield, but Shile just pops up, and like a reverse game of whack-a-mole, wins it out for Sandbox Gaming, who are 1 round away from tying it up.
This is why those deployable shields are so strong, and Sandbox had 3 of them in that round. And sure, that opening nade kill did clear both a player and a shield, but when there's 2 further shields to be dealt with, well, you need a lot more grenades than just a single or 2 pairs of that. And FaZe going to change up their operator lineup, and so is Sandbox, because they are actually going to show us a clash. Now, we have seen a clash earlier, yesterday, in the first day of group stage. But Clash is typically picked in a scenario where you're going to counter a multi or really try and mess with your opponents in the map dynamics here. Skyscraper, again, a lot of windows, a lot of angles. Clash is actually rather difficult to play correctly on Skyscraper because of it. Your back can be exposed so frequently from all those windows, etc. So Static opting for it is a surprise to me, and I'm sure it will be to FaZe as well. Let's see what they do with the attacker repick in case you see her in this drone phase. So far, we've gone from Nuke, or from Buck rather to Nuke, from Cyber, and Ace to Thermite for Cameraman. The Thermite makes a lot of sense because of this double wall that we're seeing being reinforced right now. You want a big open entry point for when you want to get inside the building, not just a tiny crouch hole from the Ace. That's why the Thermite is in play. There is no Thatcher being played out. Twitch of Souls will have to do some work. Also grenades from down below from Cyber or Bullet. So 4 grenades, 2 Twitch drones, but Static on the Clash here might make your life a bit more difficult than you'd like.
Clash is walking out onto the balcony. That'll be something for us to continue to look back on. If the Clash takes some damage but can reposition her shield and get away, that is the benefit of having a Thunderbird. Nade goes out, and there's that damage that's done to Static. But look at who's coming out from behind. It's Shyle. And down goes Cameraman, but only before the exothermic charge goes off and allows a way in to Office. Well done.
So a fun fact actually, you know when you Sophia stun Clash, she kind of like extends her shield since she becomes vulnerable. It used to be that when you Twitch zap a Clash, that same effect happens, but with the Twitch drone rework, that no longer works. FaZe tried to do it and then realized it didn't work anymore, and that's why the Clash is so strong here.
Good boy has been downed by the nade and maybe get baited out. Trail of blood behind him. Give his position away. Shotgun up for Arukazi, but that's just a decoy. Gemini, not the real deal. Imposter, Bullet. Nade down below. Can he get anything with it? No, look at that. Repositioning from Sandbox is mighty good. Good boy back from the dead, and because of those Kona stations spread around by Envy Taylor's Thunderbird, Good boy is able to get back up to almost full HP, and in fact will do so once he finishes that lap around.
Swapping Megs!
T-Bird and Clash, also a great combination because Clash will take damage from grenades, Sophia stuns, etc. But with the T-Bird, you can just walk backwards and get healed back up, and all of a sudden Astralis in a dire position. It's the kill. It's not pretty, but it works.
It's ugly, exactly. It's ugly, but it works. Just like me, as I say time and time again. Envy Taylor picking up 2 kills. Suddenly Souls is the last man standing for FaZe. It's a team kill as Envy Taylor picks up a 3rd kill, but onto his own teammate of Static. He redeems himself, though, by swinging on to Souls, and it's a big play from Envy Taylor to cap off the round and tie things up. Sandbox take 4 rounds to match FaZe's 4.
Tough position now as FaZe is getting pressure from all sides, and I mean, that Clash could be brought out again, and there's no real easy way to deal with it, unless, of course, you're just trying to apply pressure from different angles. But FaZe pretty much all came from the same position, which is where Clash is so favored. With that outside rotation, could just walk around the building. FaZe tactical timeout. They've called for it. They're going to use it. Both teams can talk to their coach and with each other. But essentially what this means is that FaZe, they also agree that they're feeling a little bit too under pressure right now. They got to talk about what the next steps are as they are finding themselves in a hard position on their attacking side. 2 rounds have passed. Both of those they have lost since the side swap. Good boy on 9 kills and 5 deaths. As I said, the sport of APAC, if you will, young gunner, up-and-coming content creator, etc., that a lot of teams wanted to get in their roster, but he found himself on Sandbox. And so far, haven't had the best showcasing here at the Major, but it's looking better here on day 2 as they both beat Soniqs earlier and are now tied up with FaZe, which is a surprise, I would say.
Sandbox is performing significantly better today than they did yesterday. I don't think there's any question there. But I mean, at the same time, it's like my great-great-grandfather said, you can't jump out of a basement window. It was hard to play worse today than Sandbox did yesterday. Same with DAMWON Gaming, who had a much better day today.
That's great.
For the record, I have absolutely no idea if my great-grandfather ever used to say that. He was not alive when I was, so never met the man.
Oh my God.
I'm sure, were he alive to this day, that is absolutely something he would say, at least at one point.
10 seconds remaining.
FaZe Clan can clinch a spot in the playoffs with a victory in either regulation or in overtime. Just displayed on the bottom of the screen. We will be updating you on the probability of teams making it out of groups as the day goes on. There's not a lot of the day left. Once this match concludes and the match on the other stream concludes, we'll have a single one left for you. That's all. There's the playoff probability, as we talked about. Sandbox can keep their hopes and dreams alive with a victory in either overtime or in regulation. Their main nemesis won't be FaZe, though. It's unlikely that they'll be able to vault over the Brazilian team. Instead, they will be battling with G2 for that second spot. But who knows? There's still 6 points on the line for tomorrow. NitroCell gets tossed out as round number 9 gets underway. Cyber misses the shots on it, but it doesn't matter because it's not even in the same postal code. So he is... That's a little bit of that defensive utility that will no longer be available. There's still one NitroCell as backup in the hands of Good Boy. The office wall has been opened up plenty by FaZe Clan, and despite the fact that Sandbox is playing up here, this is not where the actual bomb site is. They've just assembled their forces off-site. Instead, the bomb site is below, in bedroom. Envy Taylor starts things off with Static as well. Suddenly 3 kills for Sandbox come in with a minute off the clock, make that 4. It's Cameraman to clutch out. He can't do it. Sandbox takes the lead on a flawless round.
This doesn't make any sense. FaZe, they open up the game with that exact bedroom defense. They lose it to Sandbox. Then they try it again 3 rounds later. They lose it to Sandbox in a flawless fashion. That means that FaZe, they fail to defend it both times. Sandbox will choose as their 3rd defensive round that same bedroom bomb set. They will win it on defense in a flawless fashion against FaZe Clan. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but they do it anyway. KRGT is next, and Sandbox are in the lead. It's a single round, but a lead it is. Asami starting to get played, as last round Envy Taylor was using it. This round it's Static instead. Of course, those keeper barriers on Skyscraper are so good to use. Massive value. You can reshape the bomb side, the 9 lander side, help your teammates rotate, create one-way angles, and just really make it harder for the attackers to try and find those openings in the round. Warden is being played as a precaution in case it's a Ying or flashbangs on the board from FaZe Clan. It might actually be the exact reason why we haven't seen a Ying yet from FaZe. They have used a ton of attacker repicks. They got Ivana, they got the Ayana, Thatcher, Thermite, and the Nomad. So perhaps trying to slow it down here. Playing double Heart Breach might be a factor of, in case one dies, we have a backup. Because right now we are losing our gunfights, and Sandbox, they are finding those opening kills. The Nomad, same kind of story. We want to limit how aggressive Sandbox can play by putting down those air jabs, so once we've taken map control, they cannot retake it as easily. We're all seeing FaZe taking it slower in the beginnings, holding for spawn peaks, holding for jump outs. It's paying a lot of respect to Sandbox, what they've been able to do so far in this matchup, and just how aggressive they've been and how successful they've been at units.
What a twist this would be.
Yes.
Sandbox wins in regulation. The way it would gum up the gears of the standings in this group, but I don't think it would change all that much. Given the fact that they're ahead right now, you can see the updated standings in the top right of your screen. Sandbox in 2nd place as they would vault over G2. G2 will be in action against Soniqs next. We'll be casting that match here on this stream. It's an opportunity for G2 to pick up 3 big points and maybe reclaim 2nd and get ever closer to securing their spot. We'll see.
Correct. Good Boy holding drum. These C4s really are going wide.
Very
today.
wide. They are. I understand what they're trying to do, and it does force FaZe to backpedal. Arakazi decides to stick the landing on the fight, does not do so successfully. Astro the first kill. FaZe up by 1 with half of the round left to play.
The big question here is, how does it go when you gotta take drum control with Good Boy with those keeper barriers, softball inside as well, crossfire is being established. Cyber has nades, Ace down below, could do a ton of damage here. FaZe need more than a kill. They need a way inside the building, and right now they have none. Either a grenade or a 2nd kill would have to come out, and of course, Envy Taylor has those frost mats. If you don't check your windows, don't check your corners, you might just find yourself in a apartment outside. But Bullet and Souls finds 1 apiece. It's 2v5, and FaZe is looking mighty good so far in this round.
Going to tie it up and send us to a guaranteed 12 rounds. Shile missed out on a perfect opportunity. How about a flawless one for FaZe? That was a bit of a slow one. All the action happened and then it stopped. And then FaZe Clan decides that the final two players of Sandbox had overstayed their welcome. That's the third flawless round that we've seen so far in this matchup, Nick. And what a time for them to come back to back.
You're not wrong.
I know I'm not wrong. I've literally been watching it.
I saw a tweet earlier.
Okay.
Asking kind of openly, like, is this like the most aces we've ever seen in a group stage of a major? Because there has been quite a fair bit of aces throughout it, actually. We saw like 2 of them today or 3 of them today. We saw 2 or 3 again yesterday as well. It has been a fair amount. But has it been the most? Honestly, I have no idea.
You're going to pivot that into saying, is this the most amount of flawless rounds that we've seen at a live event? Because I also think that's a very fair question to ask. There have been a lot of flawless rounds so far.
In 2 games that we've cast alone, there's been 6 or 7 of those rounds. Because 3 here so far. In the OXG game, I believe it was
3 as well.
3 as well.
OXG had 3 against Gaimin Gladiators. No flawless from W7M versus Wolves. And those are just from the matches that you and I have cast. And that's just today.
Yep.
I know that there were flawless rounds that transpired yesterday. Either way. Utter dominance from some of these rounds. And I want to give a bit of a tip of the hat to Sandbox because they played Skyscraper 4 times in Tier 1 competition as a full team. And they have been unsuccessful on every attempt. So interesting that they would go back to this map given that result. It is a bit of a curious one, but they have either way secured all 12 rounds. Entirely possible that FaZe win rounds 11 and 12 and take home a regulation victory 7-5. That is still in the cards for FaZe, should they play those cards right. But Sandbox looks ever closer to overtime, especially since they had the lead. They put on an impressive 3-round-in-a-row run to reclaim time and end up, reclaim a draw and then end up taking the lead. We'll see. Sandbox have some momentum. Will they have the ability to stick with it for the last 2 rounds, or has FaZe figured out this defense? That is the question.
Taylor kind of stuck here, doesn't know the whereabouts of the lurker down below, doesn't know the exact angle that FaZe is holding on him. Clash, of course, you're trying to walk up and help him, but Clash is busy doing something else.
Just keep shooting the shield, Astro, just keep shooting it. I'm sure it'll work eventually.
You try, it won't change anything. Summer chance does go out. That C4 actually only did half a bullet's health. It was right next to his feet. I thought that was going to kill him, but he stays alive.
A bit surprising on that one, isn't it? Geisha, the primary focus right now for FaZe Clan as they attack the east side of the map before moving over to office and initiation, which is where we see the actual bomb site.
Oh.
Cyber missed out on an opportunity to take out the Thunderbird. Does MD Taylor know? Yes, he does, but you're not going to outduel an F2 at all. And now Cyber is back up as the Gemini goes on in to give some more information. Sandbox, after having lost one of their most veteran players, have backed away from that middle component of the map. And now we'll play a bit more, what you said, steadfast inside of the site.
Conservative. They have consolidated.
Yeah, exactly. I like that FaZe made this rotate, by the way. They died to the clash in that same spot on the balcony, trying to take the office wall. The previous attempt that they had on this bomb site. Instead, they have thought, you know what, let's do something else, force the clash into a very different position. What effect can Static have on that role if they're going to attack from an area that doesn't necessarily play to the clash's strengths? For the time being, Sandbox are just waiting, plotting. Cyber goes down, very first pick. Exothermic charge goes off. That'll allow an even clearer opening into the bomb site. As Souls assesses the mess that's been made, Astro picks up 2 big kills, putting Arukaze into a 1v3.
15 seconds left.
For match point, FaZe just need a single pick, that's it.
Oh.
Can Arukaze do some damage? He takes 1 down in the process. He's got pings, but no, Astro, the final 3 kills, call him the janitor, because he's on cleanup duty. FaZe Clan to match point.
Very, very, very close attempt there for the clutch. The 1v3 almost happened. Both members of FaZe were so low. That shotgun almost had him, but not quite. No C4 in pocket, couldn't toss it out. They had good information. They had that diffuser case down on the breach as well. But Sandbox, ultimately, on this match point position, will call their tactical timeout to try and force themselves into overtime and at the very least secure 1 guaranteed point. Of course, FaZe Clan can also talk to their team, and their coach rather, during this time. With 25 seconds left, look at the scoreboard here. I can tell you about it, rather. Souls top gunning for FaZe. We're talking about Astro, both on 9 kills. Good Boy and Arakase, same story, both on 9 kills. This scoreboard is almost dead even, as is the game. Both teams fighting tooth and nail. The big question now is, what bomb side do you opt for after a tactical timeout? What have you conjured up, or what input has your coach had? Because right now, it's random, with 10 seconds left, and they are actually opting so far for the bedroom, bathroom bomb side, which last time when they defended it was a flawless victory for them. But of course, a flawless round means everything possible went wrong for FaZe. Didn't win a single gunfight. That's not gonna draw the picture that we can expect this time around again.
I find it really interesting and fascinating the way that these regions go after different bomb sites.
Yeah.
There was no karaoke T defense when LATAM was on defense. Now that APAC is on defense, there's no kitchen barbecue defense whatsoever. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong.
I have FaZe playing karaoke T as their last defense. But other than that, you're correct.
Was it? I thought it was an office. I could be wrong. I might have just simply miswritten or wrote it down, because karaoke was the very first defense for Sandbox.
5 seconds left.
Yes, it
The
was.
folly of us trying to keep track of all of it ourselves. Anyway, stand to reason that I can be corrected. The point still stands that karaoke T was not a staple for LATAM, where it definitely is for APAC. And barbecue kitchen was a staple for LATAM and is not for APAC.
Yes.
Even if it was played once. These teams show they don't have a reliance on those bomb sites. Reminds me a lot of when Cafe originally saw some teams going with reading and other teams going with mining way back in the day. You had that difference in your tertiary bomb site, your third bomb site, after going with cocktail and kitchen for Cafe, or here on this map going with bedroom and office as the two main bomb sites. Either way, I do find it fascinating.
No, it is. Region meta games it's fascinating because you'd think it would be the same, because like why would it be difficult to be in Europe or North America? But it just so happens to be that the play style differences from different regions, like LATAM typically plays much more aggressive and front forward than like Europe and North America. APAC is the wild card, super chaotic, right? And because of those small minor differences, it's going to favor and play into other bomb sites, other operators, or different positions on the map that you play in, and that's what the meta is. It's like the most effective way available, most effective tactic available, and those change. Static, same old, gets up and kills a cameraman, he falls first. Third man off the board, did open up the wall before he died though, so there's that.
Very quick swing. Takes out cameraman. This is the same thing that happened last time on the office defense, but it was enabled by the clash play. Cameraman dies, but the wall still gets opened up either way. Mission accomplished for the Heart Breacher, even if you have to die doing it. Arukaze falls after a spirited engagement against Bullet. FaZe equalize the numbers. It's been a quick round so far. The time just bleeding by. Assessing the Azami strategy up above, and Azami herself is guarding over top of it. Say goodbye, FaZe Clan are just plowing through Sandbox.
They are. It's going fast. Minute left. Static and Good Boy. They gotta show up right here, right now. Good Boy especially has no C4. Does have 9 kills. Furias can buy you some time. Maybe a bit of damage. No.
Wow, that's
Not
it.
at all.
They clinch their spot into the playoffs. Joining Elevate, FaZe Clan will be here on stage on Friday. Both APAC and LATAM will have representation in the Final 8. Sandbox pick up 0 points. That's a tough go for them. That'll be it for their day. They defeated the Soniqs earlier, but that's all they're going to get, 3 on the day. We got a break ready for you, and then we'll come back to talk about what exactly happened in this match. Sit tight.